Got it. All right, we're going to cover a couple things today. First of all, we had a very successful summit last month. It feels like we were on lots of calls all of the time with y'all. You guys were really awesome with attendance and just great questions for our workshops and our speakers. We now, like Sal mentioned, are going to get back into that cadence of like workshops, guest speakers, some peer groups. Maybe you guys have already met with your mentors. And then we want to introduce something else with you, which are stakeholder updates. So this is what it says: July through October. I have a hard time with time. It's actually June through September.
Looks like she's frozen. She'll come back.
We're in July right now. That is not a good sign for the rest of this lecture today. I can tell I'm back now. We're going to cover mission, vision, values, just kind of our why we are actually doing this, whatever it is you guys are working on, as well as KPIs. As you guys are building your companies, we selected you for phase 2 because you guys were action oriented, are going into selling. Maybe you are already selling, maybe you're getting a product out there, you're doing beta tests. How can we track data to inform our strategy? And then that's going to tie into what our speaker's going to come in and talk about next week, where you have a little bit of a weird month because of July 4th causing a shortened month. Our speaker's going to come in and just talk about workflow management and honestly just getting shit done. And that is the big differentiator with a lot of successful entrepreneurs. It's just a bias towards action and moving the needle every day. So we feel pretty good about your guys' ability to do that, just based on bringing you into the second phase. But that's what we're going to really nail down on this month. We're going to talk about sales in August and then leadership and teams in September. Each month, again, lecture, speaker, peer groups, mentor meetings, and stakeholder updates. So what does this mean, stakeholder update? This is something that maybe you guys have done for other programs. Maybe this is something completely new for you. What we'd love for you to do is once a month, by the end of the last week of the month. So this can be literally like a calendar reminder. We'll give you guys a reminder on Heartbeat about doing it. Just send us an update, us being your mentor that we've assigned you to, the people in your peer group, me and Sal, and then any other stakeholders that you'd like to add to that. People maybe you met with in Mentor Week that like you really hit it off with, people from other programs. This is a good way to just keep people in the loop as you build. And we want you to do it monthly. A lot of our founders do it monthly, do it quarterly after they finish the program, figure out a cadence that works for them, keeps people up to date, but it also allows your network to kind of be abreast of any asks or needs that they might be able to help you out with. I have a structure that I'll give you that you can work off of that is suggested. Some people just write us like a couple sentences just to give us an update here and there. It does not need to be super like clinical or long or anything like that. Do what works for you to get it done, not like what you think we want to see. But good things can be like an executive summary, kind of like a too long didn't read, just like a high level. If you're going to spend 5 seconds reading this, this is what's important. Company description. This is great to just keep people abreast of like what you're actually doing in a specific moment and celebrate any pivots you may have had. Past month's accomplishments or any challenges that you've had, goals for the upcoming month, and any asks of your readers. So for instance, if I was putting together one for myself, I would say, oh, this was a great month with the Startup Bootcamp. We had a virtual summit that was super well attended. And we're looking at kicking off phase 2 with 16 dedicated founders. Like that's what's going on in my life. My company, what we do is help 18 to 30-year-old entrepreneurs grow business through age and stage appropriate programming. That doesn't pivot. Future Founders has been around for a decade now. Past months' accomplishments and challenges. Attendance for bootcamp summit sessions average around 85% of the cohort. Big challenge, just like for me, is that our COO left Future Founders, who's my boss, and hers are huge shoes to fill. And personally, like that's something that scares the crap out of me because she just has like different strengths than I have. And I'm like personally just freaking out about it. July goals. Recruiting 3 high-level speakers for our remaining workshops. Begin recruiting for UPitch with a goal of 200 applicants by September 15th. Asks introductions to inspirational leaders that could speak to a group of 22 high potential founders in a virtual environment for a different program. Know of anyone looking for a job that is a strong community builder with some entrepreneurial experience. I'd love to chat with any of them. Okay, so this is stuff that like 90% of my audience might not be able to help me with, but it just takes one person to read this and be like, oh, I actually have somebody that'd be perfect for that job. I should introduce them to Tina. Or, you could put something in there like, I'm really struggling with finding somebody that can help me out with manufacturing abroad. Like I'm dealing with like really unreliable suppliers. 90%, 99% of your email list might not know that. It just takes one person to introduce you to the right person to make things change. So if you're putting together your stakeholder update, what I really recommend is just like a quick what's going on and needs. Okay. And you'll be able to see each other do this. And you're going to be like kept abreast of everything going on with one another, but it's really going to help those that are also in your network that are devoting their time to helping you build your businesses. Any questions on these stakeholder updates? Okay, so I will send out a reminder about this. I'll probably send out a calendar invite for you guys for like the last day of the month, just to make sure this goes out. Again, don't make it too difficult for yourself. It should be purposeful for you to reflect and keep yourself accountable, but also be able to keep your network in the loop. Peer groups. I'm actually going to turn this over to Sal to talk about.
Yes. So Tina and I are hyped about peer groups being part of the Startup Bootcamp now that you're all in phase 2. You should have already been introduced to your peer groups via email during the summit, and everyone has nominated and selected a team captain. Those team captains are part of a separate chat that I'm going to use to communicate with them. So the way peer groups are going to work, you already have 3 dates on the calendar where you're scheduled to meet, but you do not have video conferencing software. Tina and I are not going to be on those calls. So your team captain, your team has to be responsible for like setting that up yourselves. These are the 3 dates on the slide. So what I suggest, this is a sample agenda. What I suggest for success during these peer groups is that someone volunteers to be in the hot seats during that meeting. And after doing like regular rounds of like updates and intros and stuff like that, there's somebody in the hot seat, and this is kind of like the meat of the call. That person then shares out a current problem that they're facing with, a current obstacle, or they're venting about something that's going on. And the rest of the team members are going to help them through that, offer support, resources, anything that they think that they can help with that situation. That hot seat then rotates the next time you guys all meet. So this is kind of like how peer groups are structured. If you have questions or concerns or anything like that, let me know. The team captains then update me on how the meetings went, if there's any obstacles, any successes, like what's been going on. If you guys are meeting more than monthly, if you continue meeting after the program's over, that's all stuff that like Tina and I want to know, because we love just like staying in touch with you guys in these areas. We want to hear how these relationships and these pairings are going. So that's info on the peer groups. And yeah, let me know if there's any issues with it.
Yeah, this is really for you guys to like start building some community yourself. The way that your errors kind of worked with you and then those pairs, like we want you guys to at least have like leave this program with at least one other person that you feel like you've been able to connect with. We know it can be hard virtually. And like Sal said, like we'd love to know if like this keeps going on. And like randomly today, I just got an email from like 2 people that were in a peer group that both live in New Jersey that didn't know each other in person. They're going to happen to be in Chicago at the same time and are going to come visit us on Thursday in the office. So like that kind of stuff we love, right? And that comes out of like these interactions that we're not kind of forcing discussion around. We want this to be organic for you guys and have a little like mini brain trust around you. And then finally, the mentor meeting. So all but one of you have already been paired to your mentor. All but one, right, Sal? 2?
All but 2.
Have it? We're working on the final 2.
Yeah.
Like literally today, we were finishing up some stuff around them. At minimum, you should be meeting with your mentors once a month for at least an hour. I believe Sal put like a hold on your calendars just to block time for peer groups, and I think mentors as well. But the mentors, you meet with them when works for you. And I know some of you have already gotten on this and started meeting with your mentors. What we have challenged mentors to do is help you guys focus on the right things. Right now in this period, you should be building your company, building out your product, doing tests and beta runs and selling if you have a product out in the market. Okay. We want to make sure that you're leaving this program with a nice solid foundation to be successful after the program finishes. Prioritization and action. So centering on goals and why you are doing this at a specific time and not that at a specific time. And then untangling any problems and just helping you get out of your head. One thing I want you to remember with your mentors is they are not investors. They are not teachers. They're not there to grade you or give you an A+. They're there to help you. So it's okay to kind of open up your books and be like, this is what I'm struggling with, and be pretty vulnerable with them. They want to be able to help you out with this stuff. You don't need to necessarily impress them. And by, again, including them on your stakeholder updates, they're going to kind of know what's going on with you as well. Do we need to report back once we meet with them? No, you don't need to report back. They fill out a little form. It's really brief. Literally, we just ask them how long they've met with you and if there's anything we can help them out with. So like even the stuff you guys discuss with them is kind of a cone of silence unless it's something like really troubling. But yeah, for the most part, we are hearing back from them. The other thing with mentors is just as a best practice, I think I mentioned this in here. As far as reporting back, what I would actually prefer for you guys to do is just send like a thank you and a recap email to them. The mentors love this. I do this with my mentors. I'll be like, hey, Jeff, really appreciated that conversation with you today here based on the things that we talked about. Here's some things I'm going to get to you next week or update you on next week. Just so like that mentor knows that you actually like heard what they were saying and feels like their time was well spent with you. Some other things with your mentor meetings, some expectations. One, unless otherwise arranged, you need to own the calendar invite unless your like mentor is just totally on top of it and like sends you a calendar invite. But there should be something that's like mutually agreed on. You guys are going to schedule a time. Somebody gets that on the calendar. And if there's any question about it, default to you. If you have to reschedule, give them 48 hours notice. Do not ghost your mentors. Seriously, do not do it. It will really piss us off because these people are giving time to you and a lot of them are very important relationships for us. So make sure you are just on top of any schedule changes you may have. Come prepared to each meeting. We actually have an action item for you this month that can help you brainstorm how to prep for a meeting and the type of research you can do or an agenda to set. Be respectful of your mentor's communication preferences and limits. This comes out of my own experience mentoring. I had a founder that I worked with that would like routinely work in the middle of the night and text me at like 4 a.m. And I would wake up freaking out that like something was wrong with my parents because my phone would be like beep, 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 beep. And that was just how she worked. Don't do that. Like respect working hours, respect their preferred method of communication. I was actually just reading something in the New York Times say that people under 25 prefer to like iMessage and text over email. And that was something that as somebody that works with like people under 25 a lot, I didn't realize that was like the absolute preferred method of communication and that email is like the communication of last resort. That's not the case for most of your mentors. Most of them are going to want to be emailed. So maybe just talk with them about what they prefer. And some of them do love to text. Best practice, already talked about, recap email. Anything else on just best practices, things you've had with mentors that works well?
If your mentors are going to report back how the meeting went, but if you want to let us know how the meeting went too, from your perspective, we are all ears. Like if things are going well, if you like them, if there's some obstacles or things like that, like keep us in the loop too. But their commitment with us includes updates. So don't worry about stuff like that unless you have extra things you want to share.
And we paired all of your mentors with you for certain reasons. For some of you, we may have given you a mentor that's like we know is going to push you pretty hard, or somebody that's like pretty black and white, like wants to give you like the true feedback. Some people we really want somebody that's going to be super encouraging of you. If you feel like your mentor's not like hitting it off with you for some reason, just let us know. If like somebody's making you uncomfortable or just like an asshole to you, they're not going to be, but just like if you're not comfortable with one, please let us know. Also, if like your mentor, you were hoping to get a mentor that could help you out with like a specific topic area and we did not give that to you, just holler at me and like, and Sal, and we can like find someone in our network to have a one-off with you.
So the thing, like kind of like how Tina and I thought about this is like a recurring mentor relationship is different than a one-off mentor relationship. You need different things, the pairing's different, the personalities are different. And so we thought about pairing you guys with the best recurring mentor relationship as opposed to like one-off skill mentor stuff that we could still support you with. Like that's still available to you all. Just let us know what you need.
Any questions on mentors? Okay, let's roll then. I've put a lot in here for you guys. Has anyone done a first meeting actually? Brittany has, Cleo, I think has.
Yeah.
Who else? Anyone want to talk about just what, because I think sometimes, I know Cleo, I think both of you maybe, but I know Cleo definitely met her mentor in Mentor Week as well. But can you just talk about a little bit around how you broke the ice during your first meeting?
Yesterday, so we had our meeting this morning, and then yesterday I thought about what I wanted to talk to her about, which is like, I have a goal and how I can best break it down. And I came up with a bunch of questions to ask her about her company, in case I didn't like get to know what to say, which we didn't even get to because we just talked about breaking down my goals. And I told her this after like reminding her of my company, and then we kind of just broke it down from there. And so I just created a structure in advance that, and I knew what I wanted to talk to her about.
I love hearing that. That's exactly what we hope you guys do, is just put a little bit of thought. It can be like a 20-minute. I mean, I do this all the time before meetings when I get like anxious about what I'm going to say, is I just like write down a quick agenda. And a lot of times I don't even follow that, but that like helps my anxiety about breaking the ice with a new person. To Cleo's point though, just perfect thing to talk about are just like the goals for the next 3 to 6 months, and maybe have like them work out like actionable things that you can do to meet those goals. Okay.
My mentor came with stuff. They told me like, they were very straightforward and like action oriented, and then just said like, okay, how do you feel about that? And kind of let me say like if I'm feeling it or not feeling it. But they came with like, hey, messaging, marketing, and like things that they wanted to hit for my specific business. But my mentor is in my realm.
Yeah, so Brittany's mentor is also a coach and also has experience in relationship coaching. So like, again, like perfect example of somebody that like we kind of knew would be like a good fit for her based on like that. And he has his own coaching style as well. All right. If you have any questions about this stuff, please let me know. Again, if you have not met with your mentor yet, there will be a little supplement for you guys to do some prep on if you are a little bit nervous. I know sometimes people get in their head about this. Cool. All right. So that's phase 1, phase 2. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of today's lecture. We're going to talk a little bit about mission, vision, values, and then into KPIs. Mission, vision, values. This is really centering on why we are doing whatever we are doing. And I want to give 2 examples of how this can direct strategy or just like personal worth and personal direction from 2 founders I love. One, you've met, Taylor Morrison. She's the founder of Inner Workout. She led the PR session right at the beginning of the summit, which feels like a year ago, but it was just like 3 weeks ago. Taylor was in the boot camp, just like you guys. And I had met Taylor probably like 6 months before she started boot camp. She was doing kind of these little pop-up like yoga-ish hour-long sessions where she would lead like breath work, journaling, and physical movement workouts to just help you reflect, decompress. And I went to one after meeting her. It was awesome. I was like, this is a really, really great experience. And I was like, as a customer of hers, was really pleased with it. But something she had set out for herself when she started Inner Workout was that she did not want her time tied to every dollar that came into her company. So even though she was making revenue from doing experiences like the one I went to, it was limited to her waking hours. And she did not like that. The goal was to be able to scale up from that. She had the opportunity last year to secure some discounted studio space during COVID or right before COVID, and make money from in-person classes, like much cheaper than she thought she would, in like a space literally in the apartment building she lives in around the north side of Chicago. And kind of was tortured about like, do I do this? This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, have my own storefront, blah, 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 blah. In the end, she passed because the core vision of Inner Workout went back to that idea of her revenue is not directly dependent on her time. That is her making a strategic decision based on like the why of her creating her company. Gary Cooper, founder of Reaply, a big friend of Future Founders, and I hope you guys get to see him speak at some point. If we ever get him in, you guys, he's a must see, and he's actually co-founder of Long Jump, who you guys got to see some of the panelists on in our last summit workshop. But Gary, basically, before he started his company, which is based on the circular economy, he was a PhD in neuroscience. He also had previously worked for EY, was making like a decent amount of money as a consultant. But he knew that there was like more to his life than just like being a consultant working for someone else. And he started kind of questioning himself, like, I have so many ideas that I can potentially go in on, and got the idea for Reaply when he was doing his PhD, seeing all of this like excess science equipment around the Northwestern lab, neuroscience lab, and realized like, why is this just sitting on the shelves in this like well-endowed school? I'm sure there's labs in schools that don't have as much money that we could be getting this product to, or to these materials to, and came up with the idea of Reaply, which has gone through some pivots and now has raised millions of dollars. But he still says he does check-ins every couple months, anytime he gets a new opportunity, and asks, what do I want to get out of this? And that changes for a person every 3, 6 months, a year. And it's okay to have those moments of reflection with yourself. And he says, at any time, I am ready to leave Reaply if it's no longer serving who I am. And as entrepreneurs, when it comes to like how hard this can be, you have to keep in touch with yourself of like why you are doing this, because it's very easy to get stuck into the sunk costs and the sunk time that you have put into building your company, and really wear yourself ragged. We see a lot of mental health concerns that come out of that, the lifestyle, because of that. So I admire both of these founders for being pretty aware and not just chasing the dollars, but actually thinking about why they are in this. This is important for us, not only just for the mental health purposes, but also as you make strategic decisions around your company. So when we're thinking about this, I'd love for you guys to think about this for each of you. I'm going to run through a case of a company. Everyone's going to be familiar with this. What is the mission of your company, or you? Whatever, if you might be unclear on right now, why does this company exist? Why do you exist? What is your actual purpose? This is the fuzzy, feel good thing about what you're doing right now. The vision is, what are some clear examples of what you want to achieve or execute through this company or this stage of life that you're in, or whatever it is. So for Taylor within her workout, that was, I do not want, one of her visions for herself was, I do not want every dollar from inner workout to be tied to my time. Values are those things you uphold and aspire to. Okay. So those are kind of your bottom line of what you will not compromise on, or that top line of like what we want to be, the biggest XYZ in the world. So to break down an example of this, one of my kind of favorite mission, vision, value, mostly value-centric companies is Patagonia. I think for many reasons, I really admire Patagonia and how the company is just like very focused on building in a sustainable way, and also how they've been people focused and how they have since they've been growing. Their founder, Yvon Chouinard, if you guys are not familiar with Patagonia, he was a climber back in the 60s and 70s, started making his own products for climbing. People liked him, the climbing community liked it, and he kind of fell into entrepreneurship. It was not his goal to be an entrepreneur, it just kind of happened to him. Wrote this great book, Let My People Go Surfing, that is all about his business philosophies. And kind of, I honestly feel like a businessman that is kind of ahead of his time. Not surprising, building an outdoor good product. So if we look at Patagonia and their mission, vision, values, some of this is stripped straight from their website. A lot of it is. Their mission, right on their website, we're in business to save our home planet. This is not, we're in business to sell all of the fleeces in the world or make the best pants that exist in the world for climbers. It is that they are going to use business to further the safety of the home planet. And the way that they do that, the vision, the executables that they do that with: sustainable production, fair labor, responsible growth, and environmental advocacy. And then the values in which they uphold: build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, use business to protect nature, not bound by convention. So some examples of how they are actually executing on their mission, vision, values. Responsible growth. They really uphold building banking products that last, so that you do not need to buy over and over every single season, get a brand new coat, get brand new pants. Their goal is that if you buy a jacket, it can last you for 10 years. And they ran a very famous ad back during Black Friday a couple years back. Do not buy this jacket. This is also good for their bottom line. It is marketing at its core, but do not buy this jacket. You're looking at Black Friday and you're like, what? Everything's consumer focused during Black Friday. This ad breaks down how much water and the environmental toll it costs to make this specific jacket. They're calling themselves out for 135 liters of water, enough to meet the daily needs of 45 people. All of these things that are not great about buying a new jacket. And they say instead, buy something that you're going to use multiple times over and over. And then they advertise their initiatives that help reduce waste. So they have the reduce, repair, reuse, and recycle program. If you buy a product from Patagonia, you are able to get it fixed in store or mail it into them instead of having to buy a new product. So you can get coats patched, you can get things sewn up by their team, so that you don't need to buy a new product if it ends up breaking or getting torn. Again, helping reduce that waste that is out there. They're also a huge family business, really focused, honestly, since early on in their building stages. They had on-site childcare since 1983. Most companies don't have that yet. They recognized that it was very important for employee retention and just for happy employees to have kids taken care of and less stress on the family to have on-site childcare. That results, again, these things can be good for bottom line. It's not just a sacrifice to be able to provide childcare for the company, or it's not a financial sacrifice to provide childcare within the company. 100% new mother retention within for 5 years, 2011 to 2016, which is super high. A lot of mothers leave the workforce right after having their kids. They also have a Fathers at Work initiative, educating parents to be able to be better fathers, to be better dads within the family unit, not just putting that on the mother. And then political advocacy. So they do all kinds of kind of nonprofit initiatives and marketing initiatives and film initiatives to be able to educate the public on the importance of environmental activism. So they have a vote initiative to register people around climate issues, film series on things like the impacts of dams to environmental impacts of mining, just to raise awareness around these issues. And then they give 1% of their proceeds back to environmental causes. So this is putting their money where their mouth is, living their vision within the way that they produce their product and taking care of their employees. So with that being said, I want to put it on you guys. What are some of your mission, vision, values? You can throw them in chat, or if you know, kind of, if maybe these have inspired some for you, maybe you have already thought about these before. What are some of your mission, vision, values for your companies or yourself?
I don't know. I want to share mine, and
yes, please.
Open to criticism or feedback. I think I was writing down that my mission and why I'm doing the stuff I'm doing is because I like to be in charge and can have control over the decisions that I'm making from start to finish, and that the product I see is a result of my efforts. Totally, that like really just being able to do what I want and execute it artistically. And I haven't gotten to the vision and values, but that's my mission. I'm not sure if that's.
Do a lot of you guys identify with Cleo in this? I mean, just being like entrepreneurs, do you guys feel?
I want to control what I do.
Yes. Okay. I want to see, does that resonate with y'all? Yeah.
Yeah.
My colleague Kelly, who some of you guys have met, he has his own business and had his own business before coming to Future Founders. I was just recently talking to him and he was just like, yeah, something I'm realizing is just like, I love working for myself. It's hard for me not to have like final say in everything I do. Yeah. I think it's a very entrepreneurial feeling. Yes. What else, y'all?
I can share some of mine.
Yes.
So I think for me, like I actually like I wrote down a mission before, but like after having this, and I'm currently in the process of like revamping and rethinking the why. I would say for mission, it's like my company exists to, like, pun intended. Again, I have a candle business, but it exists to shed a new light on African destination and culture. So a lot of people, you know, like when the word Africa comes to mind, I hope country doesn't come to mind, but rather continent. And so in that, I do think is grounded on that. In terms of like the vision is like to help people connect with themselves. It's mood enhancing, it's aromatherapy, but I want them to be able to connect with like their deeper character and like curate their space, curate your home. Like, you know, you're in charge the same way we all want to be in charge, but be able to do that through the products. And then thinking about the value aspect of it, it's also like creating the best product. Like I want to make sure like the quality, every single thing from like the wax that I source, like the oils that I'm using, they're all, you know, like vegan, chemical free, non-toxic. And I'm gonna write more things down. But
awesome. That is like a great start. And I like love that you went kind of drilled all the way down with this. And this is something that's really interesting is like, I remember this helps you stand out when you're very clear on these things. It creates like a consistency in communication, even if they like change a little bit. But I remember when I met Christabel, like it was something that stuck in my head is like, and what you just said right there, like when you say, I want you to think of Africa not as a single country, but a continent. And like, that is something that you walk away and remember. So how these things can be a part in the storytelling behind your brand. Great. Anyone else want to share? All right.
Yeah, I can share mine.
Great, Abidemi.
Yeah, so I have it written down on like a LinkedIn page, but like Schools app is an innovative scholarship platform that is designed to help college students apply and keep track of scholarships. Our mission is to ensure that everyone has access to funding opportunities, regardless of color, race, background, and culture.
Awesome. Yeah, great. I think this is awesome. And this is things that you guys like, again, it is kind of like the North Star that you should be moving towards and keeping in mind as you build out your company and checking in with yourself. Is this the same? And this does evolve with organizations. It's something that's actually kind of a little bit of a hot topic within Future Founders. We started as a youth serving entrepreneurship organization. And so our mission is every youth can become an entrepreneur. And that's something that like when Scott was just himself working on this, that is what he did every day. As we've grown as an organization, started serving 18 to 30-year-olds, we have kind of pushed back on that a little bit. It's like, you guys aren't youth. High schoolers honestly don't think of themselves as youth. So the way Sal and I talk about the work we do, Sal, you came up with this, so I'm gonna let you have the shine here.
I propose that whenever I talk about Future Founders, I just say we're building the next generation of entrepreneurs.
Yep, exactly. And for like all of us, there's different reasons why we're involved in this work. It might be because we care about the equality of creating your own opportunity. My colleague Kelly just really loves helping young people start businesses. Like whatever it is, our mission, our own why ties into that mission of building the next generation of entrepreneurs. All that to say, check in with yourself frequently about this, and it is okay if it changes. Okay. Any questions on this? All right. Well, let's keep on rolling, guys. And I love this. You guys keep putting these into chat as well. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of a shift. Our mission, vision, values help us have that like nice North Star. Our KPIs help us tell us whether we're on the right track. If that map to that North Star is actually going in the right direction. A lot of times founders will ask me like, what kinds of things should I be tracking? There are standard KPIs for a lot of startups, but really there's no one size fits all of what you should be tracking. I want to give you all some frameworks to decide on the right things to track based on where you are at, the type of business that you are actually building. Why are KPIs important? Number one, they create shared understanding around goals, especially if you have teams, if you have a co-founder, if you have people that you're going to be working with. just this is what we are really laser focused in on right now, or this is what those metrics that we really want to bump up by these particular actions that we're focused on right now. It helps us effectively communicate to outsiders. Knowing your KPIs, especially when you guys start pitching, or if you're talking to investors, or even like to your mentors, it effectively allows you to communicate about what you're doing intentionally with your business. So a lot of times you're going to see KPIs and pitches. This is our customer acquisition costs. This is our month over month revenue. And I'm not kidding, when we interview fellows, you'd be surprised how many founders do not know simple KPIs, like how much revenue they're making month to month or what their churn is. So these are things that like will help tell the story and make the case for you when you are out interviewing, out trying to get loans, out trying to get funding for your business. Help structure thinking around your business, and in that validates learning. So if you're going to spend money on ad spend, instead of just like throwing money onto a burning fire and hoping that it turns into something, actually validating that, okay, we're going to go really hard on Facebook ad spend this month. And we're going to be able to track based on this goal whether it has actually been successful. And it also gives you a sense of progress. A lot of times I think it can feel like you are just like spinning your wheels. And you know, progress is not happening as fast as you think it's going to, or expected it to. But having goals that you track week to week, month to month, can give you a sense of accomplishment. And when you look back, you know, I'm sure for some of you, you look back like 3 or 4 months ago and you really felt you were going through it, but you think about where you are now, there have been some huge moments of growth for you. And quantifying through KPIs each month is going to help you feel that in a more condensed way. The important thing with getting your KPI set out is that you don't get too bogged down by too many KPIs. There's a lot that you can track right now. But what I would recommend doing is focusing on 1 to 3 KPIs that track growth, company growth, and or value that your customers are getting from you. So for some of you, you don't have a lot of customers, or you are not in beta testing right now. So really for you, you just need to be going hard on growth. And that might be the amount of hours you're spending doing, you know, focus on your business right now, or the amount of customer discovery interviews you're doing, or referrals that you're getting. For some of you that are in beta testing, you're going to be, or selling, you are really going to be focusing on the value side of things. Regardless, you should have some ideas around what metrics could fit into this. These KPIs are going to help validate strategy. So that's on the growth side, and indicate company health. Are we actually doing what we think we're doing for our customers? Are we actually providing value for our customers? So as an example for this, just 2 examples of a growth and value KPI. Customer satisfaction, that is going to be a value KPI. You are going to want, for any KPI that you set out, you're going to set out what that measure is, a goal for that, where you're going to get the information for the KPI, the quantitative information for the KPI, and how often you're going to track it. So customer satisfaction is a value KPI, and the target that I might have for my program or my customers or whatever it is, and customer satisfaction is a KPI I track for this program. You guys will get asked this in surveys, is how likely are you to recommend the startup bootcamp to a friend, to a fellow entrepreneur? And that target, it might be month to month for me, plus 50 net promoter score. Anytime you're asked that question, how likely are you to recommend this? It's a company or a person tracking NPS. So setting a goal for myself is I want it to be a 50 NPS, which is good for NPS. The source of that is going to be customer surveys. So for me, with you all, that's going to be surveys at the end of your experience in the program. And then how often are you going to track this? Monthly, weekly, yearly? Find something that works for you. Think about a cadence that actually makes sense. If you don't have a ton of customers, you probably don't need to do this on a week-to-week basis. You can probably do this once a month and a check-in with them. Sending out a customer survey, or maybe it is something that, how much did you like the shopping experience? And they get it when they're at checkout. Think about when it makes sense to capture that data from them and have a plan for it. And a lot of people find it effective just to set calendar reminders to themselves to make sure that they spend a couple hours working on this a month. A example of growth KPIs would be something like sales increase. So I want to target 10% increase month over month for my company. And where I'm going to get that information is my profit and loss. I'm going to be able to see how much sales revenue I make monthly on a monthly basis. I would capture my profit and loss, and my goal is to do 10% more. Sales increase could help validate some learning around something like I'm running an ad campaign, or I'm doing a ton of press this month, and I think I'm going to actually realistically be able to hit 10% increase. And if I don't hit that, that shows me that maybe that ad campaign is not in the right channels for me. Maybe I need to try cold calling or whatever it might be. But look for the correlation between those initiatives that you guys do with your companies and the increase in a growth metric. Or for instance, if you're trying to track a value metric and you want to help improve customer satisfaction, it's not going to happen on your own, on its own. There might be touch points that you have with your customers to figure out if they are satisfied with your product or not. All right. So this is all to validate those initiatives that you might be doing, or the product formulation you may be doing within your company. Do you guys get the difference between growth and value metrics? Is anyone tracking a growth or value metric right now? And we're going to go through some examples. Anybody tracking currently?
Today I talked with my mentor about tracking how many sales leads I'm doing, but I'm not sure, I guess, what kind of metric that would be a metric, I think.
Yep. So like, depending on how you do sales, for Clio, like it could be, Clio does a lot of like social media marketing on her own channels. So like Snapchat, I know like you've like used Instagram before. If you are spending a lot of time, and she's not doing ad spend, you're not doing ad spend at all, right? No, Clio, it's all organic.
It's a lot of mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. So for Clio, it might be like, I'm going to do X amount of posts this month on Snapchat and Instagram, and then track where my sales are coming from to be able to validate that Snapchat is the right channel for me. Okay. For some of you, like I said, like this might be cold outreach. For Brittany, we've talked about being, for Brittany's company, a potential sales channel for her being workshops. And like, I know Brittany did like a lot of workshops or just kind of like speaking engagements during Pride Month last month. That could be something that you would hope to see an uptick in inbound sales for her. Okay. Because she's been doing these word of mouth, very public efforts to help build her thought leadership around her company. Laura tracks her number of sales. Exactly. All of you guys should be tracking sales if you're selling. Okay. Month to month. Okay. Yep. Shopify tracks sales as well as fulfillment speed. Fulfillment speed is a value metric. Great one. Okay. Okay. That's going to be something that you want your customers to be really happy with. Yes. What about pre-revenue companies? I am going to get to that, but is anyone pre-revenue and tracking anything right now? All right. Don't stress on that. Number of subscribers is a good pre-revenue one. We're going to get to more of those because I think about a quarter of you are pre-revenue. I'm going to run through a way to be able to find some good KPIs for you all to track. And this is literally a Techstars exercise. So it seems juvenile because it is a kid's company. But if he can figure out KPIs to track for his company, you guys can. NPS means Net Promoter Score, how likely somebody is to actually promote your company to a friend, basically referring your company. Yep, these are good. Keep throwing in some things that you all track. Great. Okay. So I want you guys to watch this video, and as you're watching it, I want you to think about moments in Jack's customer journey. Think about how a customer would interact with his service, and we're going to debrief his customer journey and pick out some value and growth KPIs.
Geico's 85 years isn't just about time, you know.
This video,
it means experience. If I told you I'd been jarring raspberry preserves for 85 years, you'd be like, that has got to be some scrumptious jam.
Geico. Next into the tank is a kid entrepreneur who wants to help other kids fulfill their entrepreneurial aspirations.
Hi, Shark. Sharks. My name is Jack Bonneau. I'm the founder and CEO of Jack's Stands and Marketplaces, and I'm from Denver, Colorado.
Hi, Sharks. I'm Steve Bonneau. I'm Jack's dad. I work for Jack.
Sharks, I'm seeking $50,000 in exchange for 10% of my company. I'm 10 years old, but when I was 8 years old, I really wanted a Lego set, but it cost $400. The good news was my dad said I could have it.
But he'd have to pay for it with his own money.
So I did what most of you probably would do. I started my own lemonade stand. After 12 weeks, I made $900 after expenses.
Wow.
Learned some valuable lessons, and yes, I got my Lego Death Star. The experience is exactly why I created Jack's Stands and Marketplaces. Jack's Stands and Marketplaces provides kids and their families opportunities to learn about entrepreneurship, business, financial literacy, while having fun and making some money. We provide everything except their mood and their enthusiasm. Jack's Stands offers kids the opportunity to sell lemonade and other drinks. We offer kids the opportunity to sell more than just lemonade. Jack's Marketplaces provides young entrepreneurs the opportunity to sell their products in authentic and great marketplaces and have kids sell those great products and tell the inspirational stories of these young entrepreneurs.
So, Sharks, our challenge and question to you is, who wants to make money?
While inspiring our nation's youth in entrepreneurship.
Sal, you think like Scott thought that Jack was coming for his the future founder's bag after he saw that?
Yeah, he's gonna send him a cease and desist.
All right. So basically what Jack's company does is a franchise model. He sets kid entrepreneurs up with their own lemonade stand. It's like a package that you can send them, at least at the time when he was doing this. It's evolved a little bit since then. But he would also in the Denver area actually go with them, train them on how to effectively sell lemonade in public places like farmers markets, malls, places like that, set them up with all of the materials they would need, lemonade, etc. And he also got a revenue share off of it. So you had to pay for the setup, and then he got 50% of the sales for the day. So Jack was making some money. So thinking about Jack's customer journey, it's a little bit clunky for me to do this. I'm going to bring up chat. Usually when we would be in person, I would do this with sticky notes. I recommend, I have my old notes on this. Spoiler alert. I'd recommend thinking about your customer journey very similarly to like what we're going to lay out with Jack. If you do not know where to track, and honestly, you should be thinking about your customer journey, period. Like how somebody is interacting with your company before they even realize they want your product or your service to after fulfillment, what actually happens when they have the product and the service in front of them. So that being said, I'd love for you guys to tell me, when does a customer, when before a kid even knows about Jack's company, what would be the impetus for them to be interested in a product like Jack? And he talked about it in his pitch. Why would a kid look for something like this? They're broke. Yes, exactly.
Because they want something.
Yeah. And we all probably did something like this when we were a little kid, right? Setting up lemonade stands, selling candy bars, whatever it is. The need is that kids want money. Okay. What do you think are like some ways that people interact with Jack's product before purchase without knowing really anything about how he sells to them? How do you think they interact with, what steps do they need to take before they get to purchase? Ask their parents. Great. What else? Google. So looking up like Google how to make money as a 10-year-old, maybe. Potentially consumers want board with on search. Kyla, explain that a little bit more.
Yeah. So they could possibly like have seen his stand before when they were like just walking on the street and thirsty for lemonade.
Okay,
or
great.
They could be like bored on their search engine just Googling.
Got it. So Ariana kind of hit that as well. So like purchases lemonade out in the public. So we're customers. Visual, his physical presence. Clayton, do you mean like kind of similar thing? Like they saw the stands, were like, whoa, this is cool. What the hell is this? Yeah, great. Okay. Shark Tank, great. Okay, so Jack is really great at PR. Is like on the news a lot in Denver, or was back in the day. It was on the news a lot, had like articles written about him. Probably his dad. He was there grinning because he knew his kid had stepped on something or was making some money.
Bag.
Yeah, he got that bag. What happened? What has to happen? So he does all of his inroads and purchasing through a website. So what has to happen to start getting people like on a website? Maybe they like are kind of looking a little bit but aren't ready to purchase yet. Some of you guys already do this. How can you capture somebody? Yep. Okay. Collect info. So create like subscribers. Awesome. Collecting info could also be getting credit card information. Parents have to be involved in that. So like payment system. Okay. Cool. All right. This is all good. Anything else kind of before that we might be missing? I'm sure there's a million things that happen in Jack's customer journey beforehand, but anything major that you guys feel like we might be missing? Oh, brochure, print materials. That's really good. Let's add that to like right underneath. They were customers plus took a flyer. All right. Okay, customer testimonials. Ooh, good. I'm going to put that kind of down here in this weird spot because customer testimonials are going to come both after, but also be a really important part of the buying process, right? So customer testimonials are going to show whether people actually had a good experience with the service, but also are kind of social proof that is a good experience for a kid to take part of. Okay. Very, very important for things like this, for sure, customer. And know that if you are in a service, and almost every service this is going to be important, capturing customer testimonials. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Alex, because it's something that Alex Yu Yang have been working on specifically with their beta, is capturing customer testimonials. Okay, cool. After the moment of transaction, what is a customer experiencing? And once they start getting their hands on his product or service, what is the customer journey after? Oh yeah, the big one. Making money. Nothing's going to make a customer happier in Jack's situation than making money, and then sad when he takes 50% of it. Yes, quality of product. So Jack's customers actually have customers, right? So it's really important that they actually have like good, tasty lemonade, and that kind of goes back to Clayton's point about like the visuals of the stand. He can't just throw up a rinky-dink stand. They're paying him to put together a really good experience that seems a little bit better than like putting on a folding table in your front yard. What else happens after the point of purchase? Ooh, response to customer issues. So let's say like customer service. We'll say customer service. Time, marketing. Okay. Okay, you guys are doing some good things in here. Yes, great one, Clayton. Repeat customers. More products in his marketplace. Yes, that's actually another revenue stream for him, is sponsored products in his marketplace. So if somebody this is actually how he makes money now. He's like an ambassador for a lemonade brand, and maybe that person saw him in the Denver newspaper, walked across him in the mall, was like, holy cow, this kid's cute and really doing something, or saw him on the tank and they're like, we need this kid to be a brand ambassador and only carry Fresh Time lemonade. Now that's the case. Okay, great. Supply and demand. Okay, good. Improving profit margins. Ooh. So cost of, yeah. I wouldn't know if, well, let's say improving profit margins. Let's just say in general, like business ed for his kids that he's working with, is for parents. The reason why they're doing this is, one, to get their kid to make money. But the other promise that he made in that Shark Tank video was confidence and understanding the basic principles of business. So how well they're learning, maybe competencies when it comes to business. What else? Conversion, would you say like of people interested in his product, Brittany, in the front end, or conversion of like people who walk by? On what end with conversion are you talking about?
Conversion ratios for repeat customers. So are they just buying one time, or are they continuing to?
Yep, great.
Monthly off that?
Good. That's a good actual like measurable KPI. Could he track parent guardian experience separately? It may work for the parent, maybe more work than the parent that is originally led on. So this is a good thing for like a lot of products. The person that's actually going to pay for something is going to be different than the end user. And that is going to be something that's really important for you all to track if that is really key for you. Specifically anything, I don't really think anybody's like specifically marketing to kids on this in the program right now, but that is like, obviously kids usually are not going to be the ones that are shilling out money for things. So you're going to want to make sure that the parents are satisfied as well as the kids, and Clayton gets that to a little as well. So just like pure satisfaction, parent and kid. Okay. I think you guys got all of my big ones. So now we want to look at what are some value KPIs for his customer that they would actually be able to track on this side. And some of them are already in here. What do you think is like the number one proof of value to his customer? If he's like surveying them after the fact, or data that he's able to capture using his, I'm sure he has a POS to be able to track how much has been made. Investment back. Explain that a little bit, Brittany.
Like if he has a KPI that says like when my customers purchase, we like on an average, my customers make their investment back within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, like just to give peace of mind to parents that this is going to work and this is not going to be your money down the drain.
I think that's a great one. So like that could be like, you know, if it's $50 for him to go set it up and then he takes 50% revenue on top of that. But you know, the average kid that signs up with me makes $700 in a day. That is like a great proof of value to the parent and the child. Like they can buy all the Lego sets they want, just like he did. Okay, what else? Return on investment. That's yep, exactly. Net profit. Yep. You guys are getting to the money. Yeah, you guys are all kind of talking about money. Yes. So those, I would say all of these profit, this like making money, and then there's a bunch of different ways that we can quantify that. Those are big value KPIs. That is indicating that your customer is actually getting what they paid you to deliver. The other really great one here, and you guys talked about this a little bit, is repeat customers, or I feel like somebody, maybe Cleo brought up referrals. If somebody comes back to you, it indicates significant value, or if they tell a friend about you, that indicates that they got value from your product or service. This is why a lot of times you'll see companies try to give you 10% off to refer to a friend, or 10% off to make a second purchase if you like rated them really well. That is all a tactic to help retain you as a customer. It is cheaper to retain customers than it is to create new customers. So key value KPI there. On the other end, growth KPIs. What are some things he can quantify to show that he might be on the right track with whatever strategy or decisions he's making at the time? Laura already hit one of them, number of stands sold to customers. So month over month or year over year, to ensure that he's on the right direction, number of stands would be a great KPI to track. What else? Revenue that he makes. Yep. Revenue. Pure units sold would be stands. Inventory. Go into that a little bit more, Brittany. I feel like I'm having you debrief a lot on your answers.
Oh, it's okay. So kind of like back to the supply and demand thing, it's a good, I forget the guy who does the candle company, but when you're selling out because everything is going so well and you don't have the inventory that you expected, you know that you have to, you know, order more. So maybe he's ordering more lemonade, or he's ordering more of the packages that people purchase because he's selling out faster.
Yep. And I would say like inventory also ties into just like efficiency, as well as somebody mentioned, Clayton mentioned profit margins. So holding inventory is really expensive and you don't want things to be sitting for a long time. The number of units, similar to units sold, not told, inventory out the door is a good KPI to track. Profit margins are really important, especially as you guys get repeatable kind of processes down. You're going to want to increase your margins, and that might be because you can purchase materials at a higher level and create more of a profit margin, get your COGS down. Kyla, I know we've talked about that as like something for you to focus on and that you've been really trying to do a better job about is your profit margins. Those types of things are great indicators of strategy. Hiring employees, CAC, cost to acquire customer. So if you ever hear somebody refer to CAC or CAC, how much it is actually costing you to convert somebody. Specifically, if you are spending money on ad spend, or if you have employees who are out there selling, you should be quantifying like, all right, if it cost me $40,000 to hire a salesperson, are they making that back and more in customer acquisition? Number of franchises. All right, you guys definitely have the growth metrics down pretty well. Any questions on this? Anything we're missing with potential KPIs for him?
And you can also track like your subscriber clicks.
Yes. So that is a really good non-revenue KPI, right? Am I actually using ad messaging that is effective and email messaging that is effective for my subscriber audience? Pay attention to this. We were just talking to somebody from this program about MailChimp. I can't remember who it is, but MailChimp does this really well, is you're able to see open rates. Open rates are a sign that one, people are interested in hearing from your company, but two, you're using really good effective language in your titles, right? And then you can see click-through rates. You can see how long people are reading your emails. Things like that will be able to show that you're on the right going in the right direction when it comes to strategic messaging. On that topic, another thing to track, and this goes back to Cleo's example, is conversion by channel. Okay, so for Cleo, this is just like hot on my mind because we just talked to her. She's doing a really good job of word of mouth using Snapchat. For some of you, some channels are going to work really well that maybe doesn't work for another person, depending on your product, right? You're probably not going to be able to like cold call and sell, I don't know, maybe you could to boutiques, but like candles, right? That's probably something that's going to be visual and scent oriented. People are going to want to see and maybe smell that product, unless you're like Kobe and you're able to sell it because it's visual. Think about be in the mind of your consumer and think about what channel they're going to be in to effectively want to buy from your company. Okay. Anything I'm missing here? Anybody have anything that they are tracking for their company that you think fits in well with this? Okay. Please do this for your company if you have not gone through your customer life cycle. Think about it as early as you can, what that initial need is. And sometimes your customer doesn't have that need. They don't know you exist, and it's an Instagram ad at the right time that happens for them. Okay. And that is just the way it is. That would be on here for some of your companies. It's just like scrolling on Instagram and seeing a really beautiful ad. And the KPI for that is the click-through. Okay. So go ahead, and for all of you, just like be very well aware of this. So to, I think Ariana's question, I'm not selling yet. So Brittany mentioned subscribers to your newsletters. That can be a potential KPI to track if you're not selling. What else are you all tracking for those of you who aren't selling or before you were selling? What are some things to track? Alex and Yu Yang, I'm going to spotlight you. This is what happens when you set up meetings with me. What are some things you all are tracking right now?
I think you just mentioned it, but definitely our newsletter, sending things out, engagement, open rates. We sent a poll out in our last newsletter. So, a few people filled that out, which is pretty cool.
I thought that was really interesting. I took that poll. Can you tell? So Alex and Yu Yang, really quick, like sentence that you do of what your company does just to refresh everyone. And can you talk about what the poll was?
Yeah, so Barrel is bringing the travel agency experience to the 21st century by helping travelers discover personalized trips at the click of a button. And so, what we're starting out doing with our newsletter is we're essentially, um, well, it's kind of pivoting now from the initial newsletters I sent out before. So, initially, it was kind of about our company. And now, since we're starting our service in Chicago, we're showcasing really cool places in Chicago to eat, get drinks, and activities to do. And we're also sneaking in some ways to kind of engage our newsletter with polls that are like the first one was if you could, would you rather live anywhere? Oh my God, what was it? Live for free anywhere in Chicago for a month or eat for free anywhere in Chicago for a month. And just
That's
kind of
not real. It's a
that.
little bit related to their business, but it's not really not. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not going to like change the trajectory of your business. What that is, it was purely for fun. When I saw them put that in, and of course, like I'm probably more interested than like the average rando about what Alex and Yu Yang are doing. But I was just like, what is this? And I saw that and it was delightful. Like it was just nice customer engagement, kind of related to what they do, but it's not like they're trying to sell me. And you see this a lot with brands. They do it on Instagram for a couple different reasons. One is just because it's a nice way to interact with the brand. You'll see like the this or that. Do you like these shorts or that shirt? Or would you rather, are you a forest person or an ocean person? They do that just to make you guys like spend more time on that specific brand's Instagram story. The other reason they do that is because it boosts engagement if you interact with their story. So I love that. Okay. And the fact that is something for them to track is like, will people, if we put something fun up, will people interact with our emails? What else? What else are some examples of things you guys are tracking, even though you're not selling? Okay, I'm going to run through some. I want to go through some for your company, specific companies as well. If you are building right now, hours per process, so just like workflow KPIs. I am spending, a lot of founders spend way too much time on things like social media or things that are not really focused on moving the needle for your company. So maybe experiment for a month. How much time are you spending on each thing with your company, each building process for your company? And is it actually effective in helping you build? Cold calls, emails made. That's something to help you stay accountable towards those growth metrics. Cold outreaches return. Are people actually wanting to hear what I'm out there spreading the word about? Cold returns to interviews. So asking someone, hey, can I do some customer discovery on you? Are you sending out 100 and only one person's getting back to you? That is a sign to you that maybe your language isn't working or there is lack of validation for the idea. How many of your interviews are turning into referrals? If you did 25 customer discovery interviews and they were really great conversations and people were like, I have somebody I'd love to introduce you to, great indicator of value, honestly, from the conversation. I think there's someone else that would be able to benefit from talking to you. Website visits, that could definitely be one for the Barrel team, is like clicking through that email, looking around their website. MVP and beta engagement. So for those of you who are still early on, still kind of figuring out how to build out your product, and it's gonna be a product that takes a while, getting some metrics around how many hours people are spending on your product, how many logins they're doing on the beta, how many clicks they're spending on it, how much they look around the site. Email on sign up. So we already hit that, but also a good metric to look at is unsubscribes. Okay. That is a negative KPI, but you want to be aware. If I send out an email, it's a sales email, and all of a sudden people unsubscribe, that is a clue to you. All right. I'm beginning to track hours per process so that I can have a gold standard. Yes, exactly. Having some kind of idea about how long it takes you to build a product or to make something is a good baseline to know what is reasonable to expect from another person. Okay. That will help you determine workflow. And for those of you that were on Murtaza's workshop, he had that nice little like flow chart of building out a project and how many hours they anticipate that they would spend on it. You can do that. Yep, IGN files, yep. Okay, so for Brittany, I mentioned earlier, Brittany was doing an effort to go and do public speaking. For her, she knows that is a potential inroad to customers for her. So putting out a target for her, and this is very similar to a goal, is like, I need to do 5 workshops per month or 5 panels per month to build my thought leadership in this area and start building brand awareness around what I do, tracking that, and even have like an individualized code to sign up. I did this workshop and it's like Future Founders 2021 National Lewis. Put that in so that I know you came from this specific workshop. That will help you track those things. Okay, good. Yep. Insights. Yep. What else for y'all? I'm trying to think. Beta engagement, Yu Yang and Alex, you guys have been doing a lot of that. Who else has been doing some pre-revenue now that we've gotten into some of these? Sal, do you want to talk about a couple of years since you're pre-rev?
Yeah, a lot of mine were like website visits and then tracking website visits, like sign up forms for like a wait list there. And then other things like wait list to like initial onboarding call to then like app downloads, signups. And then a lot of the Prairie community is built around like community metrics as well. So like comments, like how many posts get a comment, time to comment is something that new that I want to track. Like how long does it take for somebody to like make their first post, make their first comment, average amount of like engagement with like the votes, upvoting, things like that.
That time to first comment, that is something that like, just because I've talked with Sal about KPIs for something that comes for something you all have interacted with that we track this for is Heartbeat. So I am less concerned about like, I mean, of course I want Heartbeat to be active and a lot of people on it all the time, but almost a more important metric for us when we think about how you guys interact with Heartbeat is if one of you put a question up, how fast does it take to get your first comment on it? Because we don't want you to feel like you're asking questions in an empty room, because it means you're not going to come to that room anymore. So I think the average for that is 11 minutes, 13 minutes to first comment. So if you guys are like, I need somebody to tell me which to compare Shopify to some other website in which they prefer, my hope is that Heartbeat is the first place you think you can go to get that answer, because you're going to hear from somebody right away. That is a value KPI for the Heartbeat team. Okay. All right. Does this make sense? Is anyone struggling with figuring out some KPIs to measure based on your stage? Okay. I've had conversations around this for a lot of you. I think you guys have a pretty good handle on this. The important thing is like to start capturing it now and have mechanisms to set up. And a lot of tools have it built in. Shopify has things built in like this. Also doing things to encourage people to build into your KPIs. Christabel, are you able to actually unmute and talk about Christabel Dozeman? One of your things that I would say is like an important KPI that you have maybe intentionally tracked or not is customer reviews on Google. Can you talk about how you have if you are here, can you talk about how you have been able to implement that or get people to leave reviews?
Yeah, we actually give out free cookies if you leave a review, and we started doing it not even like that you have to show us the review. Like on your first visit, I will just ask you if you're willing to leave us a review and say like, I'm giving you the cookie so that you remember later on. And some people will be like, wait, really? Like, I'm like, yeah, you totally look trustworthy. Just leave me. So yeah, just kind of like make it a playful type of thing. And we've gotten a lot of success with that.
How many reviews do you have on Google right now?
Just a little over 500, and we just opened in February.
Okay, isn't that insane? Like, how many of you guys would like love to have 500 reviews on your Google right now? A lot. Yeah. Wow. When she told us that, I was just like, that is awesome. And it's not like she's forcing them. She's just like giving a little incentive. And most people are going to want to like follow through on something. I'm sure you've given out a lot of cookies to people who haven't, but those reviews are social proof for her and are helping spread the word about her product, her company. And
the funny thing is, even if they don't leave a review for the cookie, usually they come back and buy another cookie anyways because it was so good.
Awesome. So think about those ways that you can incentivize customer behavior to work in your favor. All right. Cool. You guys, this all makes sense? All right, cool. We're going to end about 10 minutes early, but I'll stay on if you guys have any individualized questions around this topic. Couple action items for you, and you will get this deck later. Join the Phase 2 Google Classroom. You should have gotten a invite to it. This is where we're going to have your action items come out over the next 3 months. There's not going to be anything like interview with 100 customers for customer discovery, although you guys should always be doing a ton of customer discovery. It's more stuff to keep you accountable and marinate on some of these topics that we're going to be covering. One of those is going to be to identify 3 KPIs to track over the next couple months. Okay. And this is something you can talk through with your mentor if you're not really sure what direction to go into. Make sure that you do July mentor meeting. Okay. July peer group. And then watch in advance of your mentor meeting, or if you've already done it, I still recommend taking a look at this mentor best practices 1, 2, and 4 on Techstars. I think that this is just like a good, if you have not had an official mentor relationship in the past, this is a video breakdown of a actual mentor meeting. So you can just see how people effectively use it. Okay. Use meetings to push their company forward. Review the mentor meeting checklist. This is all on Classroom. Just kind of do a little bit of prep for yourself. A lot of this is intuitive. Cleo talked about some of the things that are actually on this checklist without even seeing it, just to make sure that you are prepared. And then please fill out our summit survey. Sal put it in chat. Again, you will get all of this information. This just gives us a little bit of feedback on the speakers that we had, tells us who we need to make sure we get in the future. Also let us know if there's like a topic that you didn't get that you were really hoping to be able to see. Yeah. And that will be something that we maybe try to schedule for you guys in the fellows over the next couple months. Okay.
Also, the survey says 10 to 20 minutes. That's outdated data. I gutted this thing. This thing takes less than 5 minutes to finish. And
I pulled it up and saw that, and I was like, "Ooh, that's tomorrow thing."
Does it say it on the survey?
Yeah. It says that on our description for the thing. But no, that thing will take 5 minutes. It is not a 10-minute survey. It's just to let us know how these events and the summits, all these events have been. And if, just good data for Tina and I to have.
Yeah, I tested it out today and it probably takes I think I got through it in 3 or 4 minutes. All right. Just one thing I ask you, read carefully, because if you were not able to attend a specific session in the summit, there's an option to say did not attend. Don't just put it was awesome or it sucked because you weren't there. Just put did not attend. It'll skew our data otherwise. This is all KPIs.
Thank you all, by the way, for that care package. I haven't had a chance to get on, and thank you.
Hey, no, our pleasure. Our pleasure. You guys, if you have not gotten a care package, it should be in the mail. Cool. It's really fun for us. We saw, I'm going to call it out. Hennessy's put it on TikTok. And as most of you know, Sal and I love TikTok.
Dream of mine is to make it to the TikTok. And thanks to you, we did it.
Kyla called us future founders, mom and dad, and Sal. Yeah, Sal's like, he's like,
I think Tina's the more paternal one. I think I'm an older cousin. So yeah, but I appreciate it.
You would say you're a cousin.
Yeah.
Yes. Please, guys, let us know if the packages didn't show up. I will be going back in the office on Thursday, so we may have some bounces. It might just be that we need to get you guys a new address. Any questions for anything? You guys feel good? Thank you. Appreciate all of you, everything that you're doing. Also, just as some other things, for those of you, I keep on bringing you on. For those of you that are in Chicago, we're probably going to try to have some kind of happy hour in fall. And for those of you that aren't in Chicago, please stop by and see us. We are now reopening. I mentioned going back in the office. So we'll be around. If you are ever here, please, we'll get a coffee or take you around 1871. You are going to have to come and visit. And Paige is here. Your mentor's here.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll have many people to visit.
Yes. And Sal and I are actually hoping to go out to the Bay Area next year. We were just talking about that this morning.
Perfect.
All right, y'all. We will see you next week. This is a back-to-back week. We have our speaker next week. Corbett Drumming is going to be talking. Yep, go ahead,
Great
Sal.
point. Housekeeping thing, not to close on a housekeeping thing, but next week when Corbett's here, please turn all your cameras on. That'll be a new thing Tina and I are going to be nagging you about when we have external speakers. The cameras have been great today as well. You didn't have to do it for us, but it's nice that you did. But definitely when external speakers like Corbett are here, we'd really appreciate it. So, yeah.
All right. We'll see you next week. Have a great week and let us know if you need anything, okay?
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Bye.